Good evening, Sora. How are you?
The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, morrismedialive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, here from Morris Media Studios. My name is Jocelyn, aka Jay Green, and I have G here with me in studio.
Hi, guys.
We are here tonight for the Delta Diaries, The Journey. So we're going to be here tonight. We have some special, we are the in-studio hosts for the night, and we also have our other co-hosts as well via Zoom with us tonight. We have Valerie and Phyllis on the line. You guys feel free to introduce yourselves and say hello to the people.
I think Valerie's on mute. I don't think.
Hello, my name is
Hi,
Phyllis.
Phyllis.
I am a Delta. I belong to the Inland Valley Alumni Chapter. Been a Delta for 41 years.
Wow, that's amazing. 41 years, that's a long time.
That is. Greetings, Valerie Udozer here.
Hi,
I am
Valerie.
also a Delta. Hello.
Hello.
And I have been a Delta since 1997. So that's about 20. That's not as long as Phyllis, but it's a good amount of time.
You guys have been around for a long time doing big things. So we're thankful to have you guys here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you. So we're here tonight for the Delta Diaries, The Journey. So, it's not always how you start things. Sometimes it's how you finish. So everyone has their unique approach to life. And this is just our approach to highlighting phenomenal women and speaking on their journey and their interpretation of, their life experiences and what they're going through. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about you women, as well as our guest that we have tonight, Tara. I don't know, Phyllis or Valerie, if you guys would like to introduce the guest that we have here for tonight.
Okay, we have Sarah. She's a Delta. Tara, she's our guest tonight. And she's going to be talking why she became a Delta. She has a very interesting story. And Tara, take it away.
Hi, good evening. Thank
Hi.
you so much for her. How is everyone this evening?
Good.
Thank you. Trying to stay cool out here in this heat
Yes.
wave.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your platform and your show this evening. Thank you. It's definitely a joy. I'm excited to be here and willing to answer any questions that you all may have. As Phyllis has mentioned, I am a Delta. I have been a Delta for 1 year now. So I'm working on my 40. I'm working on it.
Right, 1 year at a
One day at
time.
a time. That's awesome. So what exactly got you into the organization itself? Because you said you joined about a year ago.
Yes. And so I always had a love for Black Greek culture and a love for historically Black colleges and universities at large. I was introduced to the Divine Nine early young. I had a few relatives in the Divine Nine. And then as I became a sophomore in high school, I really had an introduction in terms of introducing and meeting women within the sorority, specifically at a college tour, a Black college tour. And the way that they held themselves, the way that they spoke to other people and interacted was definitely intriguing for me. They were so selfless and they carried themselves with just such fortitude and such charisma. And I said to myself, yes, that's something that I can identify with, as I felt at that time. I did the same thing. And I had, of course, had to learn and really understand what the organizations were really about. And I actually did research on all organizations, but Delta's really just stuck out to me.
To you. Someone did it.
Yeah. and the rest was history. While I was in school, I was extremely involved, but there was not a chapter while I was in college. And so I was able to pledge the alumni level, and I'm very grateful, and it's been exciting ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. So what is that process like, entering at the alumni level? What, does it differ a lot, or was it, I don't know, kind of like starting a new job for you, like, kind of like apprehensive, or what were your feelings going into it?
I think that it's definitely all the same. I want to make it clear that I'm only speaking on my personal experience, and I can't speak for the sorority or for any other individual. But in my personal opinion, I believe that the camaraderie is the same. Everything is the same. And as a matter of fact, what everyone has to realize is whether you are able to join as a undergrad or on the alumni level, when you are an undergrad, you're only an undergrad for an extended period of time, for a limited period of time, rather, whether that's 4 or 5 years. And so after that, it's usual that, or typical, that you would transition into an alumni chapter, and that's where you're going to do the bulk of your serving. And so I would say that it was the same.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you. Phyllis or Valerie, did you have any questions for Tara?
I think she made a great choice. And she's pretty accurate. I hear, I think she's accurate in that in the alumni chapter, you are going to do work. And I will say that because I pledged, my chapter was alumni 1997, and it is very competitive because they're looking at professionalism. They are looking at volunteer work accomplishments. And as we get older, as Black women, as we get older, we start snatching degrees, getting very accomplished. And I feel like it's some stiff competition sometimes with the alumni recruitment, because people are so accomplished and, seasoned and into their careers. And I think, Tara, you will meet, and as you probably already have in your year, so many inspiring women. I mean, they are just the most inspiring bunch in the world to me, besides my own immediate family members, and people like Phyllis, who is like a family member to me as well.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to comment. I pledged undergrad while I was still in college, but it's the same. We're all about sisterhood, learning what public service is, how to get out there and be a part of your community. Service, and service is Delta, name of the game. It's getting out there, being a part of helping others out in the community. And I loved it. I loved it as an undergrad, when I was in college, and then when I became alumni. I love it both. And it's just all about bonding with people, like-minded people like me, want to get out there and use the talent gift that we're giving, through education, vocational trade, or whatever gift we've been given. We're just out there making a difference in someone's life, leaving our legacy behind. That's what Delta's all about.
Yes.
Yes, that's
amazing. I actually have a question. I pledged a sorority when I was in college, a Lambda Sigma Gamma multicultural sorority. So I kind of have just a little feel of the whole sisterhood and the bonding and things. So I have questions of what do you feel? I mean, what would you tell somebody that maybe was too scared to pledge maybe in college, and maybe just was like a more isolated person, more of maybe they were just didn't want to be that social, and they might feel just a little scared. That might be a lot of girls at one time, or I'm scared that, I might not fit in. What would you tell them that, being part of the Deltas, how you guys would bring them in, and why they shouldn't be scared? Because I know there's a lot of girls out there that want to do that, but are just
Well, first of all, I would say do not listen to rumors. because all we do as far as the pledge period, we get to know the history, we
Yeah.
get to know each other. It's bonding.
Yeah.
You know, having another sister, having another sister. Some of us are different in ages, so you can look at it as a big sister, little sister. Just having somebody that we can call, because wherever you go in the United States, out of the country, there's always going to be adults anywhere you go. And I really like that because I was
Yeah.
traveling a lot when I was very young, and everywhere I go, I would meet a lot of deltas, and boy, it was just the sisterhood, the love, unconditional love. And I would tell people, don't listen to hearsay. Join the right sorority. Make your own choice. Don't listen to hearsay. Go to the sorority and get some information what they're all about. Because there's some
Exactly.
good sororities out there. You know.
There's amazing organizations. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people can get, intimidated by just being part of something that large. So I hope that there's girls out there that are listening that are like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to go talk to that girl who's in my math class, like that keeps telling them you should join because it does open so many doors. You get that network, you do get that bonding feeling, you do get that sense of like, oh, I got cousins that are here. Like, I got sisters, I got somebody, like, it's just that same feeling. So, well, that's really great. Thank you. How do you feel about that, Valerie? What would you tell young girls out there that might be apprehensive about joining an organization because they're, just a little scared?
I agree with Phyllis. And like she said, if you go on any website of any chapter, there's outreach programs or there's events that are open to the public. So go to the events, get to know some of the ladies. Apply. You can apply for scholarships, or if your kids or your niece or nephew wants to apply for any of the Greek organization scholarships, they're all welcome to apply. And you can go to the events, meet people. There's lots of youth outreach programs, like I was talking about last week. Take your niece, nephew to Delta Academy, Delta Gyms. You'll meet all the ladies there and see what the organization is about. And probably, like Phyllis said, be surprised if you did hear rumors other than that. It's a classy, warming, welcome group of women.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know nowadays, we have so much more access to the information because when I went to school, all you got was the little setup on the college.
Fair.
Yeah, the fair. When you go to sign up and get your classes, and then all the orgs were on the lawn, and that was it. I didn't get I got pamphlets from them, but there was no social media. You didn't get to see, these people in action. It was kind of like if you didn't know somebody or you already had an organization that you were interested in, you were kind of just like, well, I'm out here to figure it out. So the fact that there's so many more programs and it's so much easier to get the information, I'm really happy because I know that there's people out there that are going to be like, wait, I can pledge and I'm not in school anymore. I can still do that because there's people that feel like they missed that. You know what I mean? Maybe financially they couldn't do it or just they were just so focused on school they wanted to stay focused. There's all kind of
maybe
excuses,
their parents, family.
I'm glad that somebody's here from an organization like the Deltas that are huge and do so many great things that can be here and just remind people that we can still do it even after college.
Yeah.
So
Tara, I had a question. Could you just you spoke about the Divine Nine and the Black College Tour. I just wanted you to go into that a little bit more for those that are unaware of what that is, or what that is as far as for college students and potential kids still in high school, what that means for them.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful question. And so, well, first, the Black College Tour, the tour that I attended was specifically geared towards recruiting West Coast students to attend a historically Black college or university. And just to provide a little bit of context on what a historically Black college and university is, also known as an HBCU, it's institutions that were primarily orchestrated for African Americans or people of the African diaspora when they did not have access and opportunity into other forms of higher education. And so now you have these institutions after, of course, segregation and the change over time. These institutions have serviced and provided the scope of many doctors, lawyers, you name it, judges. And when I say scope, I mean degrees. And so I think that if you're a high school student and you're listening to this, especially if you are African American or of the African diaspora, however you like to identify, I think that considering an HBCU is extremely important. Number one, college is a business. When you say you want to go to college, you're going to be paying, or someone else is going to pay. Either way, it's not free.
Right.
And I think it's important, as we always say, patronize Black businesses. Well, HBCUs are one of the biggest Black businesses there is that anyone could support and buy into. If you're an athlete, I think it's important to go to an HBCU. I'm so happy it's national. I just silent plug. I've been told everybody that athletes at top. I've been
You're
saying
like,
that.
it's the time to shine. Huh?
So that's what an HBCU is in a nutshell. And I'm from Sacramento, California, and my high school was relatively either Black or white in terms of ethnicity. And so I wanted to get the Black college experience. I wanted to see what it's like to go to the step show and go out to the events and experience a homecoming. So of course that is depicted in certain films, and you kind of get a little bit in it in films such as School Days, but I really wanted to get it in the new age and really see.
And so, be part of it.
Yes. Exactly.
Right, because School Days made you think, I want to find out what this is about. You watch that, you're like, is that what it's about? I want to go to college.
Exactly, yes. So they brought elements of School Days to the Black college tier. And so to answer the second part, when you talk about the Divine Nine, the Divine Nine is basically all of the 9 sororities and fraternities. There are 9 African-American based sororities and fraternities that make up the Divine Nine. And so when I say the Divine Nine, of course, that's Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I have to say that. And
first and foremost.
Yes. Then you have Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You also have Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And those are all of the sororities. And so on the fraternity side, you have Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. So you have all of these sororities and fraternities, which there are 9, and they make up the Divine Nine.
Nice. And about what time were all these established? Because these have been going on for some time now, right?
Yes, absolutely. So relatively with 100 years for most.
Wow. That's amazing.
100 years plus. Yes.
To have that sisterhood and that camaraderie and, the brotherhood amongst the fraternities, it's just amazing because, you see, Black culture is so vast and it reaches so far. And that's for that to be something that has kept its structure and integrity, I think is really amazing, so I'm just happy to, be able to speak to you guys and just to hear your experiences, because honestly, it's something I was never personally involved in any Black. I knew some in college. We didn't have a very large representation. I went to Cal State Northridge here in the Valley, so I kind of just knew things from just knowing people and, seeing people out, and it started building its momentum a little bit there, which I was happy to see grow throughout my college experience. But definitely if I had have known more, I think I would have. I didn't know what an HBCU was, or I knew, but I didn't really know the significance, the value, things like that. And I think it's something that if I had have known earlier that, it might have changed my college experience or my college choice as a whole, because, we didn't have football or a band or anything. Right. So it was kind of like,
it was sad.
This is not like School Days.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But so,
hey, Johnson. Johnson, you look so pretty in that red.
Thank you.
You're wearing the right color.
See, I knew how to rub you guys the right way.
Yeah, you look so pretty. Everybody looks great,
Thank you.
And, I want to say I got inspired to become a Delta because I was in the foster care system. And my last placement, I was at the Jacqueline Girls Home. And that's where I met my dream mom. When I say Deltas are I guess they just stand up. She was my little star, my little rock. Because look, my head was hard as a rock, okay? I would bump up to the building, the building be hard as a rock. the building would have a dent, but my head wouldn't. So my mom had to really,
You're
really
built
structure
up.
me. And at a teenager, people said you can't really help a teenager, but Deltas, like I said, they're awesome people. She changed my life. She got me into public service, helping people. She changed my mindset, made me have a conscience, made me not to be an incorrigible youth, but reverse how I think that I can be somebody. I can go to college. She started dressing me in high school like I was in college. I said, wow, I had my purse to match, my shoes. I was just
She was
like a
dressed to the
rock star.
nines.
I mean, she gave me something that I didn't get from my biological mother. And being a mother, you do the best you can raising a child. But my mother did the best. Sometimes these kids can be so out of control. You might need somebody to step in to help you. It takes a village to raise a child. It took about 20 villages to raise me. That's how powerful a Delta is. And plus, she was a national officer, so I got the best for the best. I got the best. Seeing her Delta sorors as I was getting, growing up in her girls' home, going off to college. I said, when I get there, I want to become a Delta. So that was
Nice.
very motivating.
What would you say, ladies, are your proudest moments of joining that organization? Like one of your moments of like, yes, I did this. We're here. I'm so proud. Like your most, like if you could put it on a plaque and put it on the wall, what would be your biggest, like happiest moment about being a Delta?
Well, I would like to say when I was 16 years old, I was in 11th grade, and being around my mom, who's a Delta, she instilled in me some really good morals. And I wrote down my goals at 16. I didn't
Wow.
know that was going to become my purpose in life.
Wow.
Public service. Yeah, I do public service. That's part of it. And I became a parole agent versus I wrote down I want to become a probation officer because I didn't know nothing about being a parole agent. Even, I was on probation at the time. So that's what I knew, a probation officer. But she instilled in me, you can be anything you want. And at 16, I wrote down my goals and I became something greater than I wrote down because I became a parole officer, public service. So I said, wow, my mom rocks. So I was just so grateful that I had a positive role model who I can hold on to and take me up that ladder that I was falling down all the time as a troubled teen.
You were like the proud student, pretty much. Like you were the
Yeah.
proud, like, yay, I made it. So that's beautiful. I'm so glad that you had that person in your life because not everybody's as lucky as you. Everybody usually, statistics show people go the other way. So for them to have such an impact on you and for you to have that village, you're really lucky. So thankful
That's
for you.
how powerful Delta ladies are.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
powerful.
Exactly. And Valerie or Tara, what is your proudest moment? Oh, maybe we can't hear them.
Valerie, you're on mute.
Oh,
Oh,
as a Delta?
yes.
You mean as a Delta?
Yes.
Well, I have had some great experiences. As Phyllis was talking, and when you asked that, I was thinking about some opportunities that I've had because of Delta. I'm a registered nurse, so I'm a nursing faculty member at Pasadena City College, and I'm also a screenwriter and a playwright.
Oh,
I went to
wow.
Howard University undergrad and studied fine arts, so I kind of have a dual career.
Nice.
And so my stage play, I have a couple of stage plays, but I will say, I know in 2017, I was very proud because the Deltas hosted a huge young African American women's conference at my place of employment,
Wow.
Pasadena City College.
Wow.
And they invited me to do one of my plays. And the audience was one of the biggest I've ever seen for a stage play that wasn't in a theater. I mean, they must have had like 300 young ladies in there.
Wow.
And it was just the energy of the audience. That year, I know that Yara Shahidi from Blackish and Grownish was the keynote speaker at that event. So on the flyer, they had me and Yara next to each other, and it was just all this energy and all these young girls,
This
and
black
they were
girl
also
magic.
uplifted.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And the play was about bullying, so we did a post session as well and talked to the girls about cyberbullying. So
Wow.
I'll say I was kind of proud
Just
as
a little
Delta
bit,
back
just a
then.
little proud,
Just a
just
bit.
a tad, not to brag, just a little.
Not to
But
brag.
that's
And then people at the
beautiful.
college were like, wow, I didn't even know you
They
were a part of
they
that.
said, "Whoa, you pulled something out your pocket on them,
Okay.
huh?" They're like, "I didn't know she had all that locked away." You're like,
Right.
"And I got other people
Exactly.
with me." So
Yes.
Tara, what about you? What would you say your proudest moment is?
Oh man, so it's been an amazing year. It's definitely been an amazing year. I would say, hmm, just
Or your most
it's the,
memorable.
Yeah.
it's the small things for me. So bonding nights with my line sisters.
Mm-hmm.
It, there's 10 of us,
Oh yeah.
and so we have a great time whenever we get together. So bonding nights with my line sisters, always proud of that because we are all in different places in our lives and in our careers. And so we come together even if we may be apart for a month or so. And I'm really
Mhm.
proud of how we've been communicating and checking on each other during this pandemic. So I really am very proud of our bond. I think that's one of the most proudest moments. I'm proud of how we are
That's beautiful.
together. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is amazing. So, I have a question for you, ladies. What would you describe, or what would you say, being a Delta is like for each of you into adulthood? Like, is it philanthropy? I know you guys said there involves, a lot of work and service. Can you guys just describe what that is for each of you in your own personal lives and journeys?
Sure.
Well, Deltas have so many committees that you can get on when you get involved in a chapter. And I'll just say an example. Whatever your interest is, your passion is, it's going to be something in your chapter where you can become involved in. Just say if your interest is in maybe education, they might got a program or a committee that you can get on education development. So it's something I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of things that you can get involved with inside of Delta. And I want to say one thing. I've seen a lot of Valerie's plays. If you got an opportunity to see her plays, go see them because they're off the chain. They're professionally done, professionally ran. The people on the stage, they're awesome. She has young kids on the stage, young youth. She got them all ages. She has some adults, and I have front row seats because I don't want to miss anything.
Nice, right? I'm like, that's definitely got to go on my bucket list.
Okay.
We got to make
Hmm.
sure. So we got to make sure we get that information from you, Valerie, so we don't
Yes.
miss it.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Yeah.
So Valerie, what would you say? What is Delta post college or into adulthood? What does that look like for you? I know you said that they've come to your place of employment, so they're kind of involved in that way. But what other ways are they involved for you, or what does that look like for you in your everyday life?
Yes, I think well, we call ourselves a community service organization. So I think, a lot of the stuff that I do already has a lot to do with community service.
Mm-hmm.
So as I've moved into adulthood and I see, how important it is, when I joined, I didn't have any children. Now I have two sons. So I definitely am aware of how important, even more so now, community service is. And I
Mm-hmm.
also, I gravitate towards the youth programs. You keep hearing me mention the youth programs. That's because that's my thing. But like Phyllis said, let's say you're into politics. They've
Mm-hmm.
got the social action committee. Let's say you're into fitness or mental health. They have a committee for that, or they have activities where you can lend your services and your expertise
Mm-hmm.
and serve in the way you want to. So I'll say I've just appreciated the community
Mm-hmm. The
service
network.
aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
It has been really fun as I've grown.
Nice. And Tara, what would you say your experience has been like? I know you've been there for a year, but I know you've got some memories stored up already.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that becoming a Delta is a journey in itself, and then when you are a Delta, that's a journey. And because it's always learning. You're always learning so much, and being around such energizing women. And so, to answer your question, I think that whether you are in college or whether you are on the alumni level, it's the core of the organization is about sisterhood and uplifting and upholding women. And so for me, it doesn't change in terms of the dynamic. It doesn't change. The sisterhood is just as prevalent as it was. It's even more prevalent now that I am. Even before I was a Delta, I was always communicating with Deltas, and in my mind, I thought it was a Delta. You have to think it.
You
You
have
have
to
to think
speak it
it.
into existence.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
she spoke it.
definitely.
Yes. Now
Manifestation.
I didn't go acting like that. That's a whole nother. I didn't go around
Right.
when but I felt, I thought, and I was just ready. And so I was embraced by a lot of women who were already in the organization and coached and mentored. And so I would say the sisterhood is something that does not change as an adult. You will always have that support system and that community that is necessary. And the community is for you, but also the community is for your community. And I see it. I believe that is super important, and it's definitely, for me, in my personal opinion, something very prevalent.
That's awesome. Thank you guys very much for sharing that. I just have one more question. As far regarding not so much, I guess, the organization itself, but what would you have for people that are kind of naysayers to going in college altogether, or people that are hesitant into getting into higher education? What would you say, ladies, the benefits are of going to college and getting that college experience, just regardless of, organization affiliation or not, just, that first stepping stone?
I'd like to chime in on that. If so, I've actually been talking about this a lot lately. I recently just earned a master's in higher education.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good
So
job.
thank you. And so my colleagues and I, my cohort, we were just speaking about the importance of higher education. And so for anybody, as I said earlier, college is a business. And so you have to evaluate how the business is also going to be a business for you, number one. But if you really are certain that, not just based on public opinion or the opinion of someone else, if you are certain that earning a college degree is no way beneficial for you because you don't have interest in securing employment, or the possibility of obtaining certain levels of employment, and you strictly want to be an entrepreneur, and you just really not into school, you're not into making connections, you're not into networking in a more robust setting to where you have all of the resources and access at your hands, and you're not into investing the time and you prefer to do it in your own way, then go for it. Now, the caveat to that is the caveat is when you are able to attend college, especially in a public setting, like I mentioned, you have resources that are precious. You have access to many levels of professionals at one time. Even if you are interested in going into entrepreneurship or even into pursuing entertainment or any other entities or industries rather that require you, that does not necessarily require a college degree. The relationships that you could potentially build while going to college versus trying to build them ad hoc is different. So, for example, I graduated from Alabama A&M University, and I had an amazing experience. And to this day, I still communicate with, of course, my colleagues and peers, but I also communicate with several staff and several people who are on the professional level. And so that building that and investing that time, I made a 4-year investment into a lifelong lasting relationships. And sometimes when you are trying to build your own business, or if you are not interested in going into school, then you may not have that access to those type of resources and relationships. And so that's also important. But I'm also very keen on explaining and educating people on the value of a trade school, of community college, especially we see in the climate now and today, online and community school or developing a trade is also amazing. Going to a
And much
4-year
needed.
college is not for everybody. Going to an HBCU is not for everybody. Although I have my personal belief that every Black child should go
Right.
to a
Go, go,
HBCU.
go.
No, that's just not realistic, and that's not for everyone. So I understand that sometimes people need to learn how to work on cars, and you can open a mechanic shop and have that to be able to
Right.
sustain yourself.
Different
Maybe
forms of
not
entrepreneurship.
right, right, exactly. So I get a little long winded and passionate about this topic.
That's what we
Hey,
want.
that's
That's what we
right.
want.
Share. We're here for it.
Yes, yes, but going to college is definitely not for everyone, and I'm an advocate of not going to college. I just want people to understand the pros and cons of both. So,
Yes. Definitely.
yeah, I'm also an advocate of going to college. Well, obviously,
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, Valerie or Phyllis, do you guys have any points you'd like to share on that topic?
I think it's very important. And she said, Tara said, it depends on what your field is and what your personal plan is. Personally, for me, I know with nursing, after I had my kids, I knew I wanted to. I was leaning towards education and becoming a faculty member. And I was told directly, actually, by a Black woman who was in a high position. She was the director of a nursing program, and she said, "This is an area where you have to get that master's." No, she said nobody will even talk to you without an MSN.
Wow.
So if you want this job, she was kind enough to take a meeting with me and talk to me, but she was like, if you want a job at the level you're talking about, you just have to get a master's degree. And sometimes you have to obtain these things so no one can deny you.
Yeah.
And with us, the denial is so rampant that we have to be
even
as
with the
prepared
degree
as possible. Right, right. So I didn't feel like it with a one newborn and a 20-month-old, but I sure did do it.
That's
And that was 2010. And then on the fine arts side, I got the bachelor's in fine arts, but I do know people, a lot of people who went and got masters of fine arts, and a lot of them did it just to really just eat up that craft.
Master
And
it.
that's a beautiful thing too. Sometimes I read a lot. So one time I heard a pastor, and he was in film school getting his master's. I said, I want to know all the books
Okay.
that's on your syllabus, because I didn't get to go to film school, or I didn't do that. But I got those books. You think I didn't? I got about 3 of those books. Yeah.
Wow.
I said, if I can't go, I can read the books.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You got to get it where you can.
And you can read, and you
Uh-huh.
can learn and read. You can read
Knowledge is
and
power.
learn stuff.
Definitely. So, Phyllis, what would you say? What do you think the importance of higher education and going to college is?
Yeah, I promote higher education. I'm into higher education because when I went and got my undergrad, I waited 17 years to go back and get my master's in social work. The reason why I did that, I got me a good job right before I got out of college, right after I got out of college. It was a good paying job. But my mother invested so much in me, higher education. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and get me a master's. I waited, it was like a 17-year period, but I went back. I was 6 years from retiring. I retired at 51, and I've been retired for 11 successful years. So I said, I got to get that master's before, my career was already ended, but I wanted to get that master's because I do a lot of public service, and I talk to a lot of kids and adults. So if I'm going to stress education, I got to take it up a little notch. I had to have that master. I wanted to have it. And I had it in social work, specializing in mental health. It goes with law enforcement because my background, 1978, I was in law enforcement, as a juvenile and youth authority. I worked in that field in adult parole. So I had that down. So I said, I was on a lot of special assignments. I worked on the substance abuse, mental health units and corrections, but I wanted to get that degree. that master's. So I did. I was so happy. I don't care how old I was. I
Yeah, it's an
walked
Of
across that
accomplishment.
course,
stage
that's
and I
definitely a
did
great
it.
accomplishment.
Huh?
It's definitely something to be proud of, no matter what your
Yeah,
age is.
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely.
And
Did
I
y'all
got
hear
one
her say
certificate, but
she
I did it.
retired at
I
51?
know. I
Mhm.
heard
Did
that
y'all
and I was like, I
And
hope
she
I
had
can
a
do
huge
that. I
party. Was that
said,
the party?
well.
I retired at 51. I could have retired at 50. I don't know why I stayed another year, but I retired at 51. And when I started my career, I did almost 3 years as an intern. That's not state service time, but I had 28 years of state service when I retired. And I
Wow.
retired at 51. But you know what? I retired, but I've been doing my straight talk program. I did that while I was working. I implemented that program in 1990. And that was
Wow.
so I was doing that full time plus my job. So now I'm committed to the community full time plus. I love what I do. I have a passion for out there helping people change their life, and be a productive citizen, law abiding citizen. That's my name here. hmm Besides calling myself the Dragon Slayer.
Yes, the
Slay that
Dragon
dragon, yes.
Slayer.
hmm
Or yeah, the
Ah,
Dragon Slayer
Right.
on
hmm
the line.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Phyllis, you spoke to going back to getting your master's after 17 years. What would you ladies, and I know Valerie, you spoke about going back for your master's when you had young children. What would you say to anyone or any women that are, questioning or thinking that they can't make that move to take the next step or go for that better job or go back to school to get that credential? What would you say to those ladies or those individuals?
Well, I would say if you can get your undergrad and go ahead and do your master's, if you can do it, get your master's, get your undergrad and your master's if you don't take a break. But some people need a break. So you just have to be committed. If you're going to get that master's, if you have to wait but sometimes the longer you wait, sometimes, you might procrastinate. But if it's all in your heart, if you're driven by your heart, you can do it. And I tell all kids, if you can stay in school and go right into your master's program, stay. But some kids have to work a little bit, because I was so happy to get me a job. I said, wow, this little hoodoo
Right.
child got a job. That's
Right.
what I
You
was
like somebody
saying.
paying me?
I might not never get this opportunity, but I know my mom was so driven to get me an education, and I wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to get that higher education because I talk a lot, and if I'm gonna talk a lot, I got to be about it too. I got to be about
Got to
the
get
action.
paid for
I'm
it,
talking
as my
about
grandma would
higher
say.
education. Well, you need to step it up in your game. Even though I had a learning disability, I said that didn't stop my destination or my journey. That just motivated me even more to slay that dragon.
To slay that dragon. I like
Right.
that.
That's right. Uh-huh.
And Valerie, what about you?
I would say, well, first of all, don't you have to start imagining things. If you're about to do something and you're worried that you can't do it, you probably can, and you just have to imagine it. I think we, as women of color, as people of color, it's not as easy for us to just imagine things and say, hey, the sky's the limit. I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Listen, I know you can do it. If you're listening and you're doubting yourself, I think you can. I tell my students that all the time. And dream big and weigh your pros and cons. And when you have kids, like Phyllis said, it is easier to keep going. But if not, and you have to do it a little bit different, which so many women have, then you can. You may have to change some things about your life. You have to weigh the pros and cons. Like, what does this do for my family? What does this do for my children? How will this elevate all of us? And then you will find that drive. And you tell yourself that you can do it. Even if you're older, like Phyllis said, she didn't do it till she was a little bit, well, she says old. I think 50 is young, but.
Yeah, that is, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
50 is the new 40.
You can reinvent yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You can reinvent yourself.
I retired at 51, but I went back to school before I retired. So I was like about maybe 40, 44 when I went across the stage and got that master's.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I was still, in the ball game, but it's never too late.
Yeah,
you have
definitely.
to make your sacrifice. Dream. I like what Sarah said, Valerie. Dream big. Yeah, I really dream big. Yeah, I really dream big. Just give you an example. When I was living in the girls' home, they had a big house. I mean, that house was like about 8 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. And I used
Wow.
to look in that house. I said, "Wow, when I get a job, this is a gorgeous home."
Right.
And I
That's like
thought,
that.
if you
I
could
want
see
one like this.
if you see the girls' home, my second home, it is gorgeous. The first home was gorgeous, but when my mom came in here and saw that home and the carpet was the same color, my mom, Maxine McGinnis, and she always know I was going to do whatever I say I was going to do because she instilled that in me. But I dreamed big, and I told her about my dreams. So dreams do come true. Dream big.
Dream huge.
Yeah.
Tara, what
Tara?
would you say anything about people afraid to take that leap to better themselves?
Yes, so I would say you have to go for it. It reminds me of one of the questions you asked earlier about if someone was afraid to join or to express interest into becoming a Delta. At one point, no one was born a Delta, and so everyone had to become a Delta. And so no one was born with a college degree. Everyone who has a college degree had to go out and work for it and had to really go and get it. And so I say all that to say, if this is something that you truly want in terms of a master's degree, don't be afraid. Don't go get it. And I say that, don't be afraid not to go out and try and make those sacrifices. I say all of this as someone who had to make a lot of sacrifices. I graduated in 2017 and I got my first job straight out of college. I was working in Alabama managing for a Fortune 500 company. And I know I wanted to get a master's. And so in 2018, my company transferred me back to California, but to San Francisco. And I lived in Sacramento. And my graduate school was in Sacramento. I could 14 hours. I worked 14-hour shifts. And I commuted every single day.
Woo! Now that's commitment right there.
Yes. And to San Francisco every day. So when I woke up, it was dark. When I went to sleep, it was dark. Sometimes it was rainy. Sometimes the fires were going on. Back in 2018, we had that fire outbreak. And so obstacles are going to happen. I don't know the experience of having children. I have never had children. And so I can't speak to being a parent while pursuing a master's degree. But I can speak to being persistent through challenges and obstacles.
I mean, commuting to San Francisco and to Sacramento as a non-children having person, I think that's bad enough. Right. So
that's a lot.
That sounds about right for us for now.
Yes, it was tough. Oh my, it was a bit much, and having papers due, and I had instructors who did not play, so they wanted their papers.
They're like, we don't care how long it took to get across the bridge. You need to have your stuff in on time.
But so all of I say all that to say, just be encouraged. What is for you is for you. No one can take it away, and nobody can stop you except for you. I mean, nothing can stop you.
That is true.
So
that is very true.
And I would just want to say something. We have to stop listening to naysayers.
Definitely.
Jumping off a building, and you keep listening to them. I got a battery that never needs charge. Because when people come to me talking crazy, I'm very respectful, but I hit my delete button. You have a right to want to say, but you're not going to steal my joy. I don't listen to. I used to listen to naysayers. They had me running backwards. I'm gonna tell the truth.
Right.
I don't listen to naysayers anymore. I listen to what's in my heart.
Yeah.
And you can't steal my heart because I'm not gonna let you decide to steal my heart.
Yeah, I think sometimes people
have that battery. You never need a charge. It's always charged. Just learn how to hit that delete button.
Or as my grandmother would say, get up and change the channel. We're up here, like we're stuck in our own little bubbles, like we're stuck in front of our own little TV, and we never change the channel. And one day, and then we're mad, or we're like you said about naysayers, like you hear, don't change the channel, and you're stuck, and you're watching the same thing over and over again, and we're stuck in our own cycles. And I feel like a lot of times people just don't have the like team around them, the support around them, just to be that voice, to say like, don't give up. Like Valerie said, you know what? I think you can do it. And I love to hear that, like you can get through it. Because I know for me, college for me was, everybody's talking about their college experiences and joining orgs and stuff, and mine was completely different. I went into college very scared, and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. I felt like it wasn't for me, and now in retrospect, I'm like, I wish I would have followed through more, and I would have had more strength within myself to not be so scared, and I was my biggest naysayer.
Yeah.
Like, I was my biggest, girl, it's too hard, or I just didn't have it. And although I joined an organization, I just know that my head wasn't where it should have been, and I didn't have that keep going. So I'm sitting here inspired myself, sitting here well, I could do it. Totally. I could still make it happen, even though I am my biggest and I just had that realization because of you ladies. I am my biggest naysayer. So thank you guys for sharing that with us, and just really impacting me literally in the moment, because I'm sitting here just, oh, it's not over.
Right.
Get started.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes. I just have to add, and I live a faith-based life, and so without offending anybody, I just want to share that we're all here and created on this earth for a purpose. God has put each of us on this earth for a specific purpose, and our purpose is attached to somebody else in terms of we are going to do something that can help somebody else, but also at the same time, our purpose is not predicated on people's opinions. People's opinions is just an opinion. Everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has one.
It's just background noise.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Tara, would you like to leave us with any last thoughts before we start wrapping up?
Sure. So I would just definitely express my gratitude for being on the show today. Thank you so much for having me. I'd like to share with everybody listening to remember to keep going regardless of the obstacles. That's what's really on my heart to share on this show. Obstacles are going to happen, but keep going regardless of the obstacles. Right now we're in a pandemic, but keep going. If you have your health, be thankful, be grateful,
Definitely.
and keep going. If you have your right mind, be thankful, be grateful, and keep going. If you have a little bit of money, I don't care if you have $2 in your account, grateful and keep going regardless of the obstacles. And thank you so much. And thank you to my beautiful sorors for setting this up. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Tara, before you go, you want to talk about your business that you're going to be embarking on?
Drop us some of your info.
Let us know where we can
what
find
you'll
you.
be working on, where we can find you.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Sor. Thank you so much. Well, I since I was asked, I might as well share. I'm an author, artist, and entrepreneur, and so I've written a book this year entitled "Unmasked Yet Covered."
Wow.
And as I mentioned, I was working actually for a esteemed state agency this year, but due to the pandemic, I had lost my position, and so I had to evaluate some things in terms of using my creativity, and I decided that this is going to be my segue into entrepreneurship that I always thought about doing anyway. And so we always say in terms of the millennials, I jumped off the porch. I definitely jumped off the porch. And I'm off, and I utilized services and everything that was given to me and invested into an online beauty supply store.
Good.
The industry is a $50 billion industry.
Yeah, I'm like, I need that information now myself.
Plug that.
Yes, and so it's a on-demand beauty. It's a online beauty supply store, full service, where you can order your products and you'll get your products shipped, delivered to your house without having to go to any stores, without having to deal with any hassles, without having to deal with any products being locked up. As we may be aware, this past year, there's a retailer out there that has been locking up ethnic products. And so I was inspired by that and decided, I've been getting my hair done since I was a young girl in multiple shops. I mean, I've been in beauticians all across the world. And so I said, well, I know that beauty is something that is marketable, it's profitable. I have a passion to not just sell beauty products, but to actually reach a community or reach a demographic of people and try to show them that if I can do this, you can do it too. And so also to take ownership within this industry although it is a billion-dollar industry, African Americans consume the industry, but we don't have much ownership. And so for me, this was a way to do that. And I'm really excited about this beauty supply business. It's an on-demand beauty is the name of the business.
Okay, so ondemandbeauty.com.
On-demand-beauty.com.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay,
Do you have
gotcha.
a phone number that they can reach you, or email, or anything like that? You want to
Yes.
say your on the line? You want to say your website again?
Sure. So the website is ondemand-beauty.com. And if you would like to reach me personally, I'll be answering the emails. You can reach out at ondemandbeautyllc@gmail.com. That's ondemandbeautyllc@gmail.com, or on my personal website at taralyncrawford.com. So,
Awesome.
All right. And is that Lynn? Tarlyn
Yes.
Crawford? Okay.
yes.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We appreciate all that wonderful knowledge you dropped on us. And Valerie and Phyllis as well. Thank you. You guys were an amazing presence here. So
Yes.
you guys let us know about a lot of information that I didn't know, and a lot of things that inspired me as well. So thank you guys. And did you guys want to leave us with anything before we wrap up as well?
Well, I have a nonprofit called Straight Talk. Straight Talk is a crime prevention, intervention, and a deterrent and a mentorship program. I deal with people that have been formerly incarcerated, either as a juvenile or as an adult or both. And I deal with people who never had any contact in the criminal justice system. But we have one thing in common. We have a passion to help others with the God-given gift that we were given by God. And we do it well. And I'm going to leave you with the dragon statement. I must see that the community love and support is not broken. Each one of us go through the journey in life. We have our own sticking points and obstacles. The difference in each and one of us is how we face our personal monster. Do we run and hide from the cruel beasts, or do we become a dragon slayer? I am a dragon slayer. We can be our own cruel beast. We can be running from ourselves. No, we got to run and pass that baton and stay in our own lane and slay that dragon whenever we have to.
Definitely. Those are
Slay
definitely
those
powerful
dragons.
words. Yes. Valerie, do you have any last words?
Sure. Yeah, Phyllis knows karate too, but that's gonna be on the next episode.
What?
She really
Now,
is a-
see, I wish I had
Plot
found that
twist.
out of some
She
time
is
ago.
like yeah, she is a dragon slayer. Are you a black belt? Or,
5th-degree black belt.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
Why isn't that on
Yeah.
your business card, Phyllis?
I can play that kick and I can play
Now
that.
that's why you're the Dragon Slayer.
Okay.
I just want people to know they're listening to a real slayer.
Right. You see,
Nobody's in here
she's like,
playing.
you weren't supposed to know that. She's,
I just, yeah, they need to know. So I will be following On Demand Beauty, and Straight Talk is an amazing program. I'm always in contact with Phyllis. If you want to go to nursing school, visit the Pasadena City College nursing program website, or find me. I have my own website for my creative arts. I have a nonprofit called UCare Foundation. So that's at www.ucarefoundation.net. So www.ucarefoundation.net. I'm working on a documentary now with Black Women for Wellness, and it's called Birthing While Black. So you can just guess what that's going to be all about. Birthing While Black.
Wow.
We've got all kinds of pages. We have Instagram, Facebook, and we have a website. It's called Birthing While Black. You definitely want to get on board with that. My short films are on a channel called BHERC TV. So it's Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center, BHERCTV.com or whatever. And if you go on there, put my name in, you'll see all my short films. So, and my last words to leave everybody is, like I said, I know you can do it. I think you can do it. I believe you can do it. So I want you to believe it. Go reinvent yourself this week.
Yes.
Thank you all. You guys are all awesome. Phenomenal hosts.
And thank you,
Tara.
ladies. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here with us and giving us all these knowledge bombs. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, ladies. So, thank you for everyone that joined us tonight. Again, this was Delta Diaries, The Journey. So, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing these women's journeys tonight. You can catch us every second and fourth Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at morrismedialive.com, or you can catch it on Morris Media Studios YouTube channel and subscribe, and make sure you watch all the videos that we have up there, okay? I'm Jay Green, and this is G, and we'll catch you again sometime soon.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Good night.
Good night.